Morning, guys. Couche. Down. Good. He doesn't know French. He knows English. I was yelling couche from across the way. I get so used to using my French commands. Good. All right. Mark Fresh, Protect Dog Training with Benoît. And Benoît, I'm kind of trying to figure out, we talked about free shaping the other day. Nope. And I didn't post it because I'm trying to work out my verbiage in regards to how do I communicate to you in such a way that's short and sweet. A lot of my videos are 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes sometimes, and people, because of the internet, don't have the ability to concentrate and to get into it anymore because we're so conditioned with the TikTok, right? Click, click, click. Imagine what that's doing to the children's minds. If you can't sit here and concentrate and watch something enough to be able to get something out of it, it's because your brain is being reconditioned. Now think about it. Your children are trying to learn in school and you're sending them to the teacher, and the teacher's trying to get them to sit still in their seats and to take in knowledge and to be able to sit there long enough to be able to learn something. I feel sorry for the teachers nowadays. I really do, because the technology coming in with the phones is creating the children's brain to work differently. And then our society is such that we're stuffing things like this in the kids' face from an early age, and they're being conditioned by it. Their minds are forming and being formed as they grow older, right? And then when they're very young, dogs, puppies, we work with them very young. We set foundation, and we actually take that mold, that clay, and we start molding and shaping it and how we want the brain to work when we're dealing with a dog, right? Humans the same way. We're no different. We're an animal like anybody else. So it really affects you. You should have, hopefully, if you have a good parent that realizes the negatives that come from our technology that are bringing into our society in such a way that you don't realize that kid is affected by it, you're crazy. Okay, all the kids getting older and starting to go out and shoot people and kill people, it's because they've been desensitized because blood and gut their whole life sitting there playing those type of games, right? And then you'll get the argument, no, that's bullshit. Bullshit. How many school shootings? How that's because they've been desensitized. They think they can go in and kill somebody when they're emotionally upset about something, right? Where are they getting those ideas? Where are they getting even the picture of pulling a trigger and seeing brains splat all over across the fucking wall because they're playing those fucking games? Good. So I've got obviously a certain opinion in that regards. We're not talking dog training, are we? Yep. Good. Good. All right. So I was talking about the shaping. Shaping is nothing more than starting to condition an animal a different modality. What is the word modality? Modality is a word that we're using that means different method, right? It's a different method that we're using. In dog training, we've got all kinds of different modalities, different methods we can use. I can run through some of those right now, and I'll mention them. And those of you that are training dogs, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. When I say avoidance and escape, that word should be something that's familiar with you if you're a professional trainer, right? You should understand luring. If you're a professional trainer, you understand how luring is used in how we train a dog, right? So in this case, we're talking shaping, okay? But they call it free shaping, which means the dog has to do what I want him to do without me cueing the dog. And we're basically using it in such a way, and if you do it early enough where you're forming and shaping that dog's way of thinking, I can see the value in it. I have not put that tool in my toolbox. I haven't used shaping much. Why? Down. Good. The reason being is I've got all kinds of other tools in my tool bag, methods, modalities that I know how to use that I've been using for years. And I played with shaping a little bit, but I've never really concentrated on that. Those that do are usually a purely positive crowd, and they're using click treat for their whole modality and how they work with animals. They don't believe in aversives. They don't believe in corrections. And with me, I want, because I'm a balanced trainer, I want to have as many tools in my bag so that I can use as many modalities as I want to, so that I have that to go to if I feel it's conducive, it's worthwhile to the animal to learn and grow, right? In this case, that dog's a very intelligent dog, and he's a very happy-go-lucky, frolic type of dog. His brain is been allowed to be that way because his owners had no dominance within their relationship. They were Asian, and they're very easygoing. They're very sedate with their whole nature, so they had no dominance within their relationship. What do I mean by dominance? It means to be assert you are the pack leader. It doesn't mean I need to take a bat. I don't need to beat the dog up, but I have an attitude that what is right and wrong, and timing and everything else. that brings in a certain amount of dominance within our relationship dynamic. To me, and anybody that you talk to, it's a working dog trainer, law enforcement, whatever, they're going to have a very good concept of having it, because we're dealing with a lot higher drive states with these animals, right? So it's a working dog that needs to have some kind of relationship dynamic that has a certain amount of dominance within your relationship. And if you don't, you're going to end up with problems, believe me. Squirrel comes running across the road, or you're doing something with a dog that's in these high drive levels when they're going after the bad guy, or doing the bite work that we do, and the drive state levels are way, way higher than the general public understands, especially with the breeds. Malinois, Dobermans, Rotties, Shepherds. My Czech Shepherd is wound up really tight because he's a well-bred dog. He's got all these drives that you would want if you're going to go and turn him out into the street, letting him be a police dog or doing personal protection. These are the breeds that we use because they have so much prey drive, so much drive. Correct. He doesn't know it yet. I'm going to start working on that. Couche, correct? Correct. No. Correct. Good. Nope. Good. There you go. Correct. Good. There you go. I need to increase his vocabulary to a point where he really understands it. Most of all my dogs, I can say couche, correct, and they'll bounce right up into that nice Sphinx down. Nope. Good. Correct. Good. Yep. Come on. Yeah. So we're going to be playing with shaping, talking about modalities. It's called free shaping. And what you're doing is you're trying to get the dog to do something that he doesn't even know he's doing it, and it's incremental. You slowly but surely start clicking when he's doing the right thing. Maybe he just turns over and looks at something, and right away you click it. So the next time he does it, he looks at it, you click it again. And now you don't click it that time he looks at it. You wait for a little longer, and he'll start wanting the food. And he'll go, what do I need to do to get what I want, right? That's what you're trying to do, get the dog to use their own brain, right? So let's go ahead and start doing something like that by just stalling. It may take some time. What I'm going to try to do is get him to go to the bowl. See what my camera set is. I sure do wish I had, all the ones that do good with their videos usually have somebody that they can have to film them. And every trainer that does usually makes these films look a lot better because their head's not cut off. They don't have a stationary camera that they've got to move all the time. So I pulled the clicker out. I want to do a lot of loading clicker right now because the timing is real important when you do shaping. I need to catch him when he's doing something that I want him to do without him even realizing. Yep, you go freehand. You go freehand. Okay, now I don't want him to do, these are things that he knows very well. I want something that he doesn't know at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab a cardboard box. There's a big one that's on the internet because he's got these folks that do a lot of the shaping, and they have something they call 101 things you can do with a box. So first thing we got to do is get him to have a novel object, something he's not familiar with at all, that makes him want to be curious about it, and I'll click him when he gets closer to it or do something with a box. Let's see how this works. I'm just starting to play with this, guys. I'm doing my R&D on it. I'm starting to dig into shaping. Why? Because I found a dog that I think can benefit from it very well and get good at it, right? I'm trying to find a cardboard box that's out here somewhere. I think there's one inside the trailer. Give me a second, guys. El perfecto. All right, so now this is a novel object, something he's not familiar with at all, has no clue what it's out there for. He's going to be a tendency to be a little curious about it. So what I'm going to do is put it out here and just leave it sitting there. It's got a hole in it. I'm going to get quiet. Yep, good boy, good. Right there. Good. Now he did that out of curiosity. Good. Now, good boy, good. All I'm doing is trying to let him register that he gets food when he does the right thing. And you're standing back and letting the dog figure it out, right? And right now, he's looking at that box. He's, what the hell? I'm getting a reward when I do it. So this whole modality with shaping, I haven't done much of it, but I have a little benefit, a little boost up in my ability to do this because I can read the dog real well. Most people that just starting this, maybe a beginner, doesn't have a clue. Now he's looking to me. There it is, okay? He's looking to me because he's usually used to me having food, all right? So he's got other things that are overshadowing it. I'm going to step away and kind of try to get him to do what I want him to do without even knowing it. And I'm basically clicking when he does the right thing. See the nervous behavior? That's his. The heck did you get? Nervous behavior, nervous Nelly. He doesn't know why the box is there. It kind of startles him when it moves on the ground. He has no clue, right? And I'm trying to convey to him what he wants. I'm trying to get him to reach for how does he get this reward on his own. That's why we don't do shaping, or I don't do shaping much, because it takes so long, because you have to wait for the dog to elicit the behavior and then click him when he does the right thing. And then basically grow the dog in the areas of, take this leash off so he doesn't drag the leash into it. He doesn't need the tactile and me pulling him anywhere. He's got to do it on his own, right? Good. We call this free shaping. And if you had a dog you were doing young, I've got a litter of puppies coming up. When I have these puppies, I might play with this a lot more. Yeah, he's registering that click in the back of his brain. And I'm trying to teach him what I want. I'm trying to walk away from it, get him restarted, just kind of trying to flow. My body language being totally neutral. I'm waiting for the dog to make the choices. All right? That's why, and that's again why I don't use it, because free shaping takes a long time. And then, but when you do it and you condition it in, let's say with a young puppy, and this was the way I started, and I did free shaping in the very beginning, and I stayed that way, the dog's brain is really going to start reaching for what do I need to do. You'll end up eliciting behaviors that the dog gives it down, says to sit, and starts cycling through behaviors he already knows because he's reaching to try to push you to get the food. It's a different mental process for the animal. Yep. Good boy. Good. There you go. Good boy. Good. Now look what he's doing. He's coming back into things that he already knows. This is going to get in the way of trying to really do free shaping. You're better off having a dog that's never done anything and has no context at all, and then building it that way so the dog starts to reach for what he needs to do, and they'll start pushing you, and they'll have an honest flow of their brain. Good. Yep. Good with free. I don't want any negative. You don't want any no's, any of that. You're trying to motivate, right? It should be all motivational. And you're letting the dog get exuberant and start figuring out what he needs to do to get what you want him to do. And then as you start growing this, it's going to start pushing you to get the food, to get his reward, right? Trying to see if I can get him to just reach down for the box. If he start when he starts figuring out that it's his behavior that's getting him the reward, he's going to start reaching for it. And then once they really understand, they start to get the concept, the concept of the modality. Now you can start getting the dog to really start cycling through behaviors and pushing you to get what he wants, right? Me chattering on the film is not good because my voice tone is used in my training so much. So that's why when I chatter, when they're on a downstand thing, they start thinking a certain thing, because when I'm chattering, I'm busy and I'm not paying attention to them. I'm concentrating on communicating to you guys on the video, right? So there's a lot of little things that make it unique to me and what I create in the dog. Now, I wanted to get him to do it. He looked at it, and I'm trying to get him to understand what I want him to do just by him reaching for it himself. He doesn't understand it. And the biggest thing is to get the concept across to him that he starts to understand that my behavior is what's getting me the reward, right? In other words, his behavior. And then when he understands that, we're on our way. And it's just going to take a few sessions to get him to understand. And then we'll get him doing that with the box. And then after a while, now, can I start pushing for a different behavior? Can I get him put his mouth on it? Right now, he's touching it with his nose. At first, it was to get him to even go near the box, right? So Now the other ones that's kind of nice, and we'll get back to surfaces. I can't throw this on the ground. A lot of times you want to get a flow going, and I'll toss the food. I'll go to the park with him and maybe bring the same box, and we'll do it on the cement over by a gazebo that I've got to work with at the park. And then I can throw the thing and get him to go in the drive. He'll be excited to go after the food and then come back. And as he comes back, he'll start going back to the box, right? So this is kind of robbed in regards to I can't throw the food onto the ground, right? And the food toss basically gets the dog flowing. Remember, dogs are always happiest when they're in movement. So when the dog goes to get the food, he's in drive, it's chasing because the food goes across the ground and they're chasing after it and then they get happy with that, right? I can't toss it here. I got to do that at the park. We'll come back to it again. We'll keep playing with this and we'll start trying to give you an idea of what shaping is. They call it free shaping. But again, if you do it when a dog's young, like a puppy, if I started with that modality right away and sparked the dog's brain in the right way, they would start reaching and really start cycling through a bunch of behaviors if I had behaviors that he knew, right? So let me see if I can get him to stick his nose all the way into that hole. So we're going to wait a little bit. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? So what I'm doing right now is my body language is doing nothing but, see how neutral I am, hands, but I'm taking out all the cues that he may have already, right? Now I got him to put his nose into the hole. So that'll be our new criteria. I want your whole head into the hole. Instead of just looking at it, now I'm asking him to put his head in the hole. I haven't asked him to do nothing. He's cycling through it. His brain is working. The wheels are turning in his brain. And that's what I'm trying to elicit. It's called free shaping. And I think it would be a lot better if I started with a young dog and had the modality inserted into the dog and how they learn and how they grow. That modality has already been set in other methods that I use, tactile, leashes, all the stuff that I do. He hasn't been worked into a collar either. If you notice me reach I'm making a big thing, letting him hear the plastic, the food's going to go behind my back, and I'm going to stand here again. So that he starts to get the idea that he's got to do something to elicit my, okay? See if I can get his head in here before we end this. I want it all the way down deep instead of just touching the outside part of the hole. But now our criteria is raised. Okay. I didn't do it right on that one, but we'll get there. It's a long, lengthy process. What I'm trying to do, if you don't realize it, when you're shaping, you're trying to create a certain flow pattern within the dog's brain. So he realizes it, or she realizes that their behavior is getting the reward. And when you get him enough into that process of trying to give him that modality of understanding, he'll start reaching and start cycling through a bunch of behaviors. It's an amazing thing when you see it work with somebody that really knows what they're doing. I am just scratching the surface right now. I'm reaching into this so I can learn and grow and add one more modality, one more tool in my tool bag that I can use when I want to. I've got a bunch of them over the years, but I've done very little shaping. I understand the concepts of it. Intellectually, I can grasp it pretty fast because of my past experience, but I also have a whole thing that I'm usually training a dog and it comes in. I got 30 days to do the job and I've got to fulfill a certain criteria base that I'm after with each time the dog comes in for that 30 days. So it takes time. This is only one modality of 1,000 different methods and things that you can do. It's 1,000,001 tricks to put in the bag, right? As you go along and increase your skill levels and you get better and better doing it, what you're doing. This is what it's all about, right? To bring him in dry so he gets happy, and then I won't give him any food. I'm hoping that's going to cause him to say, what do I need to do, right? Here he goes. I'm watching the wheels then, and he's looking for things he's familiar with, right? There it is, okay? And I'm showing him that he's got to do something to get his reward. And it's because we have a lot of things that are overshadowing it. Now I need to get more again. I got to go back to the criteria. I need to increase his criteria. He's took out that sound, right? I'm sitting here yakking, and that affects him emotionally. And I usually use it. I want him sticking his head all the way down in it. So I'm not going to click it until he puts his nose down deeper into the hole. That's I'm analyzing it right now as we're working, and I'm figuring out what do I want the dog to do. First it was just to look at the box, then it was to touch the box. Now I want the dog's nose inside the hole. Will I get it this session? Maybe not, but I'll come back to this and keep playing with it. I'll keep that box because it's perfect for me because it's got a nice hole sitting there. And then we'll go to the park and I'll start throwing it, getting some more drive and that movement from him going back to grab it and come back because I'll have the cement to work with. I don't want his nose in this dirt. I don't want him to pick up this dirt. It just irritates me. Yep, I think we're almost done now. Remember, short and sweet too. We want to keep our sessions 3 to 5 minutes, not even that, maybe even 2 to 3 minutes. And really a real short and sweet session so we can keep building on it. Okay, so we're almost done. I want to see if I can get the dog's nose to go all the way in there. Okay, now he's figuring out that I'm giving him something when he does what he's doing, right? I'm playing on the fact that I know this is an intelligent dog and that he'll figure it out, right? And starting to try to get some kind of flow pattern that he gets used to. Not going to stick his nose in it today, but I like what I saw. We had a very good session when he looked back at me and said, what's going on with that box? Because I'm taking the food, instead of doing what I normally do, I'm doing something that's not normal. I'm putting my hand behind my back and I'm just standing there. Okay, so he's starting to reach for this. This is exactly what I want. See where his head went? Went into the hole. That's perfect. We're going to end real quick here. Yeah, that's our boy. We're done. We're done. All right, we're done. Good boy, good. We're done. Yay, good boy, good. We got to get him a little bit more comfortable with this. But it's a novel object. It's something, look at there. There we go. And now he starts grabbing it. If I click that, he's going to start grabbing. I don't want him grabbing. I want to put his head in the hole for now. There it is. Now his wheels are turning. He's thinking, what do I need to do, right? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the dog to elicit me doing things. There it is. All right, we're done. The big thing too, guys, make sure it's short and sweet and you end on a high point so that you can come back to the next time. If I keep doing this, you get past the point of being conducive to what you're trying to get the dog to do. We're trying to get him to use his own brain and start reaching for what do I need to do to get what I want, right? When you get to that thing, now we can start doing all kinds of creative things. And the better he gets at it, the more he's going to start eliciting behaviors to get me to give him the food, to get me to give him the reward. He's sniffing the box because of the bowl. I'm going to go ahead and let him have the ball. This is what he wants. I got to end. We got to end right there because I want to come back to it. Good way. And then remember, we don't want corrections in this. We want it to be all positive. And I don't want him grabbing the box so he starts another behavior. We're in trouble. I got to get this out of the way. All right, guys. Mark Fresh, Protect Dog Training. That was a successful session, guys. It was. I had to take a lot longer to get to what I wanted, but that was pretty cool. Place. Push you down. Good. To get the dog to get their brain in the right flow pattern so that this becomes shaping and he starts to really grow with it and starts reaching to learn more, right? To push on me. You want the dog pushing you, right? So we're going to sign off. This is Benoît. He is a rehoming project that I'm working on. I am going to do that to the point that, do another close-up. Well, that's not close enough. Let's go all the way in. Oh, that Benoît. That Benoît. He's a good dog. He's got a huge heart. He is a dog, though, and we're going to get a lot more work going towards the fear-biting aspect of things and get him to be a lot more confident and work our way through that. Now, keep in mind, before I end here, guys, let's go ahead and give you a little bit more yak. Keep in mind, the success with this type of dog and rehoming the dog, because he's got a fear-biting problem, is all going to be based on who I place him with, because the human factor, the human side of things, is very important with him because he had a weak customer. That's not they're a bad customer. They just don't have the ability to communicate with the animal as well as they should have. And they get a dog they're outmatched by because they don't understand dog psychology. This dog was traumatized on the street when they first got him. That's caused the dog to be acting certain ways, right? My chatter is what's causing this behavior right now. So we need to find the right person. We get the right person for him, he's going to have a great life and it's going to be an excellent forever home, right? So that's the big critical factor for me. I've got to find the right person that has a lot more dog savvy and then understands dogs well enough that they can handle a dog like this in the right way. Okay, it's very important. If you match him with the wrong person, it may not work out, and he'll be kicked back on you, right? So I don't do rescue because it's the human factor that I get so angry about, and the humans are the problem, and all the dogs that are getting put down, the pound situation we've got, it's all us in society. It's the human factor that's the problem, not the dog's fault. It's just lack of knowledge and understanding from the public. You know, people are so, good boy, good boy. And he is an excellent dog in his own way. He's got his failings, but he just needs a strong handler is what he needs. He needs somebody with a lot more dog savvy. Down, stay, good boy. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Mark Braschi signing off with Benoît.